From pain to power, using Stoic philosophy to rebuild yourself. Pain and suffering are universal experiences. They touch every life at some point. Whether it's loss, failure, heartbreak, or disappointment, these moments can feel like the end of the road. But what if instead of breaking you, your suffering could become the very foundation for your greatest strength? This is the transformative power of Stoic philosophy, a guide to rebuilding yourself from the ashes of hardship. Stoicism teaches us that pain is not something to fear or avoid, but a natural part of life to be faced with courage and wisdom. The ancient Stoics understood that suffering often reveals our true character and offers us the chance to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. It's through this lens that pain becomes not a curse, but a catalyst for transformation. Many great thinkers and leaders, from Marcus Aurelius to Epictetus, faced unimaginable difficulties, yet they emerged more powerful because of how they engaged with their suffering. Their teachings are not just historical lessons. They are practical tools that anyone can use to rebuild their mental and emotional strength, no matter the challenges they face today. This video will take you through the essential Stoic mindset and techniques for turning suffering into power. You'll learn how to shift your perspective, embrace hardship as a teacher, and use adversity to forge a stronger, more resilient self. This is not about denying pain, but about mastering your response to it. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by life's challenges or unsure how to move forward after a setback, this message is for you. The wisdom of Stoicism offers a path out of despair and into empowerment, a way to rebuild yourself, not despite your pain, but because of it. So prepare yourself for a journey of transformation, because when you learn to use suffering as a tool rather than a trap, you unlock a power within that no external force can ever take away. Let's dive in. Pain is often seen as the enemy, a force that breaks us down and leaves us feeling helpless. But what if pain is actually a doorway, a gateway to strength and growth that few understand how to walk through? This is the radical idea at the heart of Stoic philosophy. Rather than avoiding suffering, the Stoics teach us to face it head-on and use it as the raw material to rebuild ourselves stronger than before. Stoicism originated in ancient Greece and Rome, born from a world of hardship and uncertainty. The Stoics weren't naive about life. They knew pain and loss were inevitable. What set them apart was their belief that suffering, when met with the right mindset, is a powerful tool for personal transformation. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, said, "Difficulties show a person what they are." This means our true character is forged in adversity. The story of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, perfectly illustrates this. Despite ruling an empire fraught with war, disease, and betrayal, Marcus remained calm, rational, and compassionate. His secret: he embraced suffering as part of life's natural order and used it as a guide to live virtuously and rebuild his inner self. His meditations remain a timeless manual for turning hardship into wisdom. In this video, we will explore how you can apply Stoic principles to your own life struggles. Whether you are dealing with heartbreak, failure, loss, or any form of pain, Stoicism offers a practical roadmap to shift your perspective. You'll learn how to transform suffering from a source of despair into a catalyst for growth, resilience, and empowerment. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we have absolute control over how we respond. This idea is revolutionary because it places the power back in your hands. You no longer have to be a victim of circumstance. Instead, you can become the architect of your own mental and emotional rebuilding. You'll discover the power of acceptance, not resignation, but a clear-eyed recognition of reality that frees your energy to focus on what you can change. We will also look at the Stoic practice of negative visualization, which prepares your mind for loss and adversity, making you stronger when those challenges inevitably come. This journey isn't about ignoring pain or pretending everything is okay. It's about courageously stepping into your suffering with the tools to extract strength from it. The Stoics show us that every setback, every failure, every hardship holds the seeds of transformation, if only we are willing to nurture them. So if you're ready to stop running from pain and start using it to rebuild yourself, this video will guide you step by step. Because from pain, you can rise. From suffering, you can build a fortress of strength that nothing can shake. Chapter 1. Understanding Suffering, the Starting Point of Growth. Suffering is a universal experience, one that no one escapes. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, a failed relationship, a crushing disappointment, or ongoing stress and anxiety, pain hits us all at some point. Yet many try to run from suffering, to numb it, or pretend it doesn't exist. Stoicism teaches us the opposite. Suffering is not the enemy, it's the starting point of growth. Epictetus, a Stoic who endured slavery and physical hardship, famously said, "Difficulties show a person what they are." Pain reveals the raw truth about who we are, stripping away superficial layers. It forces us to confront our vulnerabilities, fears, and weaknesses. Though this can feel terrifying, it's also an opportunity for self-discovery and transformation. Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. The blade must be heated, hammered, bent, and cooled repeatedly. The heat and pressure cause pain to the metal, but without it, the sword would be soft and useless. In the same way, suffering tempers your spirit, making you stronger and more resilient if you learn to endure and grow from it. There's a deep emotional resonance here because everyone watching has felt this tension, the desire to avoid pain versus the knowing that growth often requires it. Maybe you've experienced heartbreak, felt betrayed, or lost a job. These moments are profoundly painful, but they also plant the seeds for rebuilding a better version of yourself. The key is to stop resisting suffering and start examining it. What is it teaching you? What can you learn about your limits, your values, and your priorities? The Stoics don't ask us to enjoy pain but to welcome its lessons. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This chapter is an invitation to shift your mindset about pain. Instead of seeing it as a curse, view suffering as an essential part of the journey toward strength. This is where your transformation begins, in embracing the uncomfortable truth that growth often demands hardship. By acknowledging and understanding your suffering, you begin to reclaim control. You move from being a passive victim of life's blows to an active architect of your future self. This is the foundation upon which everything else will build. Chapter 2. The Power of Choice. Control what you can. One of the most empowering ideas in Stoicism is that while we cannot control external events, we have complete control over our choices and responses. Epictetus reminded us, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is a lifeline when facing suffering. You may not control the pain, but you can control your reaction. Consider the story of Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor who endured unimaginable horrors. He observed that even when everything was stripped away, the last human freedom remained, the ability to choose one's attitude. Frankl wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. This space is where you reclaim your power." Human emotion is deeply tied to how we interpret events. When pain strikes, our natural reaction is often despair, anger, or helplessness. But Stoicism teaches us to step back and observe our emotions, choosing which ones to engage with. This shift from automatic reaction to mindful response changes everything. Imagine you've lost a job unexpectedly. The initial shock might bring fear or anger, but within days, you realize you can choose to see this as an opportunity for reinvention rather than defeat. That choice, difficult as it is where your power lies. The pain of loss is real and valid, but it does not define you unless you allow it to. By focusing on your choices, your thoughts, attitudes, and actions, you create a path forward, turning suffering into strength. This chapter emphasizes the emotional struggle between feeling powerless and realizing you have agency. It encourages viewers to hold on to hope and the knowledge that even in the darkest moments, choice remains. As you practice this, you'll notice how many challenges become less daunting. Your emotional storms calm, replaced by a steady inner strength born from the freedom to choose. Chapter 3. Acceptance, the antidote to resistance. Pain becomes even more excruciating when we resist it. How often have you fought reality, wishing a loss hadn't happened, wishing circumstances were different? This resistance creates a secondary layer of suffering. The Stoics teach us to practice radical acceptance. Marcus Aurelius said, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" Acceptance isn't giving up. It's facing reality clearly and honestly, without adding suffering through denial or wishful thinking. A moving story here is that of James Stockdale, a U.S. Navy pilot held prisoner for years in Vietnam. He endured brutal torture and isolation, but credited his survival to accepting his situation fully rather than wasting energy on futile resistance. He said, "I never lost faith in the end of the story." Acceptance gave him clarity and strength. Emotionally, acceptance is challenging because it means letting go of control, but clinging to how things should be only deepens pain. When you accept what is, you free yourself to focus on what you can influence. This habit doesn't dull your desire for improvement or change. Instead, it grounds you so that your efforts are based in reality, not fantasy or frustration. Acceptance is the soil from which resilience grows. Try this when faced with hardship. Practice saying, "This is happening. I can't change that right now, but I can control my response." Notice the relief that comes from releasing resistance. Acceptance transforms suffering from an enemy into a teacher. It allows you to see your pain clearly, learn its lessons, and move forward without being weighed down by denial. Chapter 4. Negative Visualization, Preparing the Mind for Loss. One of the most powerful Stoic tools for dealing with suffering is premeditatio malorum, or negative visualization. This practice involves imagining worst-case scenarios, losing loved ones, wealth, health, so you prepare your mind for potential loss. It sounds counterintuitive, but this mental rehearsal builds resilience. Seneca advised, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." By regularly visualizing possible hardships, you reduce their shock and emotional impact if they occur. You also deepen your appreciation for what you have right now. A modern analogy is training for a marathon. You don't run the race cold. You prepare by building strength and endurance gradually. Negative visualization is mental training for life's inevitable challenges. Emotionally, this practice confronts fears before they arise, so they lose their grip. It stops us from taking things for granted and shifts focus to gratitude. Imagine picturing losing your health, then realizing how precious every moment of wellness is. This doesn't make you pessimistic or fatalistic. Instead, it creates a sober awareness that anchors your emotions and sharpens your gratitude. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." Try spending a few minutes each day imagining the loss of something important, then returning to the present with renewed appreciation. This habit turns suffering into a powerful teacher and guard. Chapter 5. Reframing Pain, Change the Story You Tell Yourself. Our minds have the power to shape how we experience pain through the stories we tell ourselves. Stoicism teaches that by reframing our narratives, we can transform suffering from a source of despair to a source of meaning. Consider the story of Nelson Mandela, who endured 27 years of imprisonment. Instead of viewing his time as a wasted sentence, he reframed it as an opportunity to prepare for leadership and strengthen his resolve. His mindset transformed suffering into a powerful force for change. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things but by the views which they take of things." When pain strikes, your interpretation determines your emotional reaction. If you tell yourself, "This is unbearable," suffering multiplies. But if you say, "This is hard, but it can teach me something," your experience shifts. Emotionally, reframing requires courage and practice. It means challenging your initial, often negative, thoughts and replacing them with constructive ones. This habit helps you regain control over your mental state, even when circumstances are tough. Try asking yourself, "What can this suffering teach me?" Or "How can this hardship help me grow?" Over time, you'll notice your pain loses its overwhelming power. This practice doesn't erase hurt but empowers you to find meaning in it. Viktor Frankl wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Reframing pain is a key part of that change. Chapter 6. Building Resilience, the Strength to Keep Going. Resilience is the muscle that allows you to endure hardship and keep moving forward. Stoicism offers a blueprint for building this mental and emotional strength through consistent practice of its principles. The story of Thomas Edison, who faced thousands of failed attempts before inventing the light bulb, illustrates resilience perfectly. Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His perseverance was fueled by a stoic mindset of persistence and learning from failure. Emotionally, resilience means feeling pain but not letting it stop you. It's the courage to face setbacks, pick yourself up, and continue. The Stoics believed resilience could be cultivated, not just innate. You build resilience by embracing discomfort, accepting failure as a lesson, and focusing on what you can control. Each challenge you face and overcome adds to your strength. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "The obstacle on the path becomes the path." This means every difficulty encountered is an opportunity to strengthen your resilience. Practice resilience by setting small challenges for yourself and reflecting on past struggles you've overcome. Celebrate your progress and remind yourself that growth comes from endurance. With resilience, suffering no longer defeats you. It becomes a stepping stone on your journey to greatness. Chapter 7. The Role of Virtue, Rebuilding Character Through Adversity. Stoicism holds that the true measure of a person is their character. Their virtues like courage, wisdom, justice, and self-discipline. Pain and suffering test and reveal these virtues, offering a chance to rebuild your character stronger than before. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Hardship forces you to practice virtues you might have ignored in easier times. A story to reflect on is that of Socrates, who chose death over abandoning his principles. His suffering became a testament to his unyielding commitment to virtue, inspiring generations. Emotionally, focusing on virtue gives suffering a higher purpose. Instead of feeling defeated, you see challenges as opportunities to demonstrate integrity and strength. Rebuilding yourself means strengthening these virtues daily. Courage is choosing to face pain. Wisdom is learning from it. Justice is acting fairly despite hardship. Self-discipline is controlling impulses when emotions run high. This habit invites you to ask, "How can I use this adversity to become a better person?" When virtue becomes your goal, suffering becomes a tool for moral growth. The path to rebuilding is not just physical or mental, it's deeply moral and spiritual, guided by timeless virtues. Chapter 8. Community and Support. You are not alone. Though Stoicism emphasizes inner strength, it also recognizes the importance of community. Rebuilding yourself through suffering doesn't mean isolating or bearing the burden alone. Connection and support are vital. Epictetus said, "We were born to work together." The Stoics understood that human beings are social creatures who thrive in relationships. Sharing your pain and struggles can lighten your load and provide perspective. Consider the story of Helen Keller, who overcame the dual challenges of deafness and blindness through the support of her teacher, Anne Sullivan. Keller's resilience was strengthened by this human connection. Emotionally, loneliness intensifies suffering. Seeking support, whether from friends, family, or mentors, creates a network of care that fuels your rebuilding process. This chapter encourages reaching out, building relationships, and practicing empathy. Helping others who suffer also strengthens your own spirit. Rebuilding through suffering is not just a solitary journey. It's one we take together, finding strength in shared experience. Remember, even the strongest Stoics relied on community, proving that vulnerability and strength coexist. Chapter 9. Taking Action, Rebuilding Through Daily Practice. Stoicism is a philosophy of action, not just thought. Rebuilding yourself after suffering requires deliberate, consistent effort. Small daily practices rooted in Stoic principles create lasting change. James Stockdale's survival in captivity was due to daily mental discipline, reminding himself of his purpose and focusing on what he could control. His resilience wasn't passive, it was built moment by moment. Emotionally, taking action breaks the paralysis that pain can cause. When overwhelmed, even a small positive step builds momentum and hope. This habit invites you to set daily intentions, journaling, reflecting on virtues, practicing gratitude, or negative visualization. These actions rewire your mind towards strength and calm. Remember Epictetus' advice. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Clarity of purpose followed by consistent action is the path forward. Taking action shows yourself that you are the driver of your life, not a passenger. It transforms suffering into purpose. Consistency over time creates a foundation so solid that no suffering can shake your rebuilt self. Chapter 10. Embracing the journey. Growth is a lifelong process. Rebuilding yourself through suffering is not a one-time event but a lifelong journey. The Stoics remind us that life will always have challenges, but how we meet them defines us. Marcus Aurelius said, "Begin each day as if it were your last, with gratitude and purpose." This daily renewal is the essence of Stoic resilience. Emotionally, this chapter speaks to the struggle between despair and hope, the tension that fuels growth. It reassures that setbacks are part of the process, not the end. Rebuilding means embracing impermanence and uncertainty with courage. It means being patient with yourself and persistent in your practice. This habit encourages viewing life as a constant teacher and suffering as one of its harshest but most honest lessons. With every hardship, you grow stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. You learn to live fully, not despite pain, but with it. Ultimately, the Stoic journey is about freedom, the freedom to choose who you become regardless of what life throws your way. As we near the end of this journey, take a moment to reflect on the wisdom you've absorbed. The path from pain to power is not a quick fix or an easy escape. It's a demanding, often uncomfortable journey that asks for courage, patience, and unwavering commitment. But the rewards are profound. A life rebuilt with resilience, purpose, and inner strength. Suffering, as difficult as it is an inevitable part of the human experience. Yet, how you engage with that suffering determines the course of your life. You can let it define you, or you can let it refine you. The Stoic habits we've explored are your tools for turning hardship into a foundation for greatness. Remember, none of the great Stoics were immune to pain. Marcus Aurelius faced wars and personal losses. Epictetus was born a slave and suffered physical disability. Yet, they transformed their suffering into strength by mastering their minds and actions. Their example reminds us that suffering is not the end, it is a beginning. You now have the power to choose your response to life's challenges. By accepting reality, reframing pain, building resilience, and taking purposeful action, you can reclaim your agency and rebuild yourself stronger than ever before. It's also crucial to recognize that this is a lifelong practice. Rebuilding is not a destination but a continuous process of growth. Life will keep throwing obstacles your way, but now you have the tools to meet them with calm, clarity, and courage. The emotional journey may be tough. There will be days of doubt and frustration. That's natural and expected. The key is to return to these principles, to recommit to your growth, and to keep moving forward step by step. As you practice these Stoic habits, you will notice a shift, not just in how you face suffering, but in how you live every moment. You will find joy in resilience, clarity in chaos, and freedom in acceptance. So, as we close this chapter, prepare yourself to embrace the path ahead. The journey from pain to power is yours to claim. The strength within you is waiting to be awakened. Outro. Thank you for joining me on this powerful exploration of how Stoicism can help you rebuild yourself from suffering. What you've learned is ancient wisdom with timeless relevance, a guide to turning life's inevitable pain into a source of profound strength and growth. Imagine waking up every day with a mindset that no setback can break, no loss can shatter, and no hardship can defeat. This is not a fantasy but a possibility within your reach. Stoic philosophy offers you the roadmap to that inner fortress of resilience. You've seen through stories of great men and women who faced immense suffering and emerged stronger. Their journeys aren't exceptions. They're examples of what any person can achieve by mastering their mind and embracing hardship. This is your invitation to step into that same power, to rewrite your story so that suffering is no longer a dead end but a turning point, to see every challenge as a stepping stone toward becoming the best version of yourself. Remember, the path won't always be easy, but each time you choose acceptance over resistance, action over despair, wisdom over fear, you reinforce your foundation. You rebuild not just for survival but for triumph. You are capable of extraordinary growth and transformation. The power to control your life and your mind has always been within you. It's time to claim it fully. Carry these Stoic principles with you. Return to them when life gets hard. Share this wisdom with others who need it. Together, we can build a community of strength, courage, and resilience. So stand tall, breathe deeply, and embrace your journey from pain to power. The world needs your strength, and your greatest self is waiting to be born. Summary. In this video, we've explored the transformative power of Stoicism in using suffering as a tool to rebuild yourself. We began by understanding suffering as a natural and essential part of growth, learning to control our reactions, and practicing radical acceptance. We then delved into powerful Stoic techniques like negative visualization and reframing pain to change our relationship with hardship. Building resilience and focusing on virtue helped us see suffering as an opportunity to strengthen our character. We recognized the importance of community and consistent action in the rebuilding process. Finally, we embraced the lifelong journey of growth that Stoicism offers, reminding ourselves that every challenge is an opportunity for transformation. The stories of Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, Viktor Frankl, and others grounded these lessons in real human experience, showing that greatness is forged in the crucible of adversity. By applying these principles, you can reclaim control over your mind, find peace amidst pain, and emerge stronger, wiser, and more empowered. Final thoughts. Now, it's time to take what you've learned and put it into practice. Choose one Stoic habit from this video and commit to applying it daily for the next 30 days. Whether it's practicing acceptance, mastering your reactions, or building resilience, consistent effort will transform your mindset and your life. If this video inspired you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might benefit from this wisdom. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss new content designed to help you live stronger, wiser, and freer. Lastly, I want to hear from you. Share your experiences, struggles, or breakthroughs in the comments below. Let's build a community where we support each other on this journey from pain to power. Remember, your strength is within you. It's time to awaken it and live the life you were meant to lead.